Okay, so let's go ahead and quickly review absolute value, some concepts that we need to know, and then we'll get into the actual steps here to solve an absolute value equation. All right, so the first thing is this. When we're talking about absolute value equations, we just first need to kind of review what is absolute value. Well, in mathematics, when you see these bars like this, that's an indication that you're dealing with an absolute value function. Okay, an absolute value function. So there's all different types of absolute value problems. Okay, let's not confuse them. Just quickly, when you're dealing with absolute value, you're going to be asked to do the following, okay? You're going to be asked, if you're taking, again, any kind of sort of algebra course, maybe like the Algebra 1 level or above, you're going to be asked to graph absolute value functions, okay? You also can be dealing with absolute value inequalities, all right? That's another big thing that you'll need to know how to do. So you got to know how to graph them, you got to know how to deal with inequalities, and you're going to have to know how to solve equations, and you're going to need to know what absolute value is and have a good understanding of the definition of absolute value. So let's go ahead and cover that right now because I think that will help you kind of understand how to solve absolute value equations. All right, so just absolute value in general, okay, the definition of it is effectively the distance a number is from zero. Okay, so if somebody was to say, hey, what's the definition of absolute value? It's the distance a number is from zero. So let's take a look at two problems here. If I said, hey, what's the absolute value of -3? If I just had that as a question, most of you would be like, oh, it's 3. And a lot of students kind of misinterpret what absolute value does for us. They go, oh, it just gives us the positive version of any number. So if you got a negative number, it makes it into positive. Well, yes, it does, but that's not the definition of it. So let's take a look at the absolute value of 3. The absolute value of 3 is also 3. Now, what does that mean? Again, these are like questions, right? Where it's like, hey, what's the distance -3 is from 0? That's what this is saying. So let's take a look at our nice little lovely number line here. So here's -3. So here's 0. So if we kind of measure the distance from 0 to -3, it's 3 units away. Just kind of imagine you took out your little tape measure like this and you measured from 0 to -3, it would be 3 units because distance and displacement is in positive units. Okay, that's how we want to think about it. So it's -3 is 3 units away from 0. Matter of fact, 3, if I ask the question, how far is 3 away from 0? It's also 3 units away. Okay, it's the same distance, right? So this distance is the same as this distance. So that's why the absolute value of -3 is +3, and the absolute value of 3 is also +3. So let's take a look at this nice, lovely equation. If I said, what's the absolute value of x? I have some mystery number, and when I take the absolute value of it, the answer is 3. Okay, so what could x be? Well, x can either be two numbers, right? They could either be -3 or 3. Both of these numbers work to give us an absolute value of 3. So the first thing I want you to remember is when we're dealing with absolute value equations, there's always going to be two solutions. Anyways, let's just kind of set up the big picture about what absolute value is and why there are two solutions to these equations. Okay, so now here is basically the steps to solving absolute value equations. So the first thing you want to do is, and I got this as step 2 because the first thing I wanted to kind of list here was just an understanding of absolute value, what it is, and why there's always two solutions. But basically, when it comes to a procedure, the first thing you want to do after, obviously understanding that you're looking for two solutions is you want to isolate the absolute value function. Basically, you want to get this absolute value part of the equation on one side of the equation all by itself and some sort of number on the other side. Okay, you'll see how this is going to work here in a second, but that's what we need to do. We need to take steps to isolate this absolute value part and get a number on this side of the equation. Once we get to this stage in the problem, we're going to go ahead and set up two equations, and then we're going to solve those respective equations, and the solutions to those equations will be the two solutions to our absolute value equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this now. Are you struggling in math because of confusing lessons? Maybe the teacher's not showing you all the steps you need, or things are happening too fast. Well, there is a better way. So come on over to my math help program at tcmathacademy.com. There you'll find clear step by step instruction by me that will definitely make a huge difference in your math success. So make sure to check out all my courses by following the links in the description. All right, so when you're thinking about solving an absolute value equation, this is the part that you're trying to isolate. Now, here is something I really want to stress. Let me just make up something real quick. Let's say I had 8, absolute value 2x plus 4 equals 10. Now, these numbers in here, okay, or this whole thing, this whole absolute value part right there, all these numbers inside, pretty much just think of this as one big variable, okay? This in terms of your first step, i.e., let's just think of this as a variable x, like 8x is equal to 10. So if you were to solve this particular equation, you're isolating this part. Just think of this as a big variable. So here I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides of the equation by 8. So x would be equal to 10 over 8. But this x is really that absolute value part. Okay, so you need to kind of be able to conceptualize this absolute value function part like so. Okay, so for some of you students out there, it might be a little bit confusing, but just kind of think of this as one big variable for the first phase of this problem. All right, so let's solve for it, or in other words, isolate that. So what I want to do is divide both sides of the equation by 8. Okay, again, this would be like 8x is equal to 16, and this part of the equation is this part right there. Let me go and erase this, okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and divide both sides of the equation by 8, and you can see here I end up with the absolute value of 2x plus 3 is equal to 2. So this is kind of the first phase of the problem, and these equations can get much more exciting and much more detailed. But there's another thing I want to stress here that really confuses a lot of students. So let's suppose we had, let's say, 8x plus 16 is equal to 20. Let's say we had an equation like this, and you're like, oh, I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by 4, right? Because we're isolating this part of the problem. That would be correct, okay? But here is where a lot of students go wrong. They oftentimes think they can divide this 4 into what's inside the absolute value function, right? So they'll go like, oh, that 8 gets divided by 4, that's 2x plus 8. You cannot do that, okay? This stuff in here is pretty much off limits. It's inside the absolute value function. So algebraically, you can never like divide into these terms with a number like this, okay? So this is a kind of self-contained function. Don't confuse this with parentheses or any kind of grouping symbols, because that's not what this is. This is a function, okay? So in other words, if I had 2 parentheses 4x plus 8 equals 20, okay, let's just kind of do it this way, and I want to divide both sides of the equation by 2, well, then you could factor out the GCF, etc. So anyways, I don't want to go off on too many tangents, but this is an important point to stress, because I see this mistake, this misunderstanding a lot, okay? And, you know, think about it. How many homework pages, test quizzes have I seen over the decades? Maybe 100 million. Well, not that much. I mean, I am exaggerating, but a lot. Maybe it felt that way for me, but you see the mistakes over and over, you know, the same mistakes over and over through the years. So I'm telling you right now, some of you out there are probably making that mistake. Don't do that. All right, so anyways, here we are. We're down to this part of the problem. So remember, once we isolate this absolute value function right here, there's nothing in front of it, nothing underneath it, and we have it equal to a number. Basically, we're ready to set up 2 equations, but let's just think about this real quick. What this is saying is this: hey, absolute value of this thing, all right, 2x plus 3 is equal to 2. So if I give you a little question here, let's kind of do it like this. The absolute value of something is equal to 2, all right? Like, well, you know, we don't even need to put a variable in there. I just kind of went up to you and said, hey, listen, I took the absolute value of some number and the answer was 2. What is the number? So you'd be like, oh, that's easy. It's -2 or 2. Okay, when you take the absolute value of -2 or 2, you get 2. So you're like, oh, yes. So 2x plus 3 is really the numbers -2 and 2 incognito, right? It's trying to hide. It's like, trying to, disguise itself as a number, but we know what the number is. We're like 2x plus 3, we know you are either 2 or -2. Okay, now of course math isn't, some sort of game of hide and go seek, but we want to try to explain this stuff in a fun way. All right, so now we're ready to do our last part of this problem, and that is to solve these last 2 equations. So the setup here is we're going to take what's inside the absolute value, and we're going to set it equal to the positive version of that number, which it will always be positive 2, and we're going to take this whatever's inside here and set it equal to the negative version of that number. That is the procedure, okay? But I wanted you to understand why it is that case, because this number must be equal to 2 or -2, because the absolute value of 2 or -2 is the only way we can get an answer of 2. Okay, so now finally we're just going to go ahead and solve these last remaining equations. And here we're going to go ahead and subtract 3 from both sides. We get 2x is equal to -1. If you don't understand this, you need to review basic equations and the like. Of course, you can find all that in my pre-algebra Algebra 1 course. So when we solve this, we get x is equal to -1/2. Here we're going to subtract 3 from both sides of the equation. We get 2x is equal to -5. Divide 2 by both sides of the equation. You get x is equal to -5/2. All right, so x is equal to -1/2, x is equal to -5/2. These are the 2 solutions to this absolute value equations. Now, absolute value equation, okay? Now, let me stress one of the things here. When you learn how to solve absolute value equations, you're going to be very happy. You're going to be, oh, look at me. I am so awesome in algebra, which you are. But here's the deal. When you learn how to master this and then you move on to inequalities, absolute value inequalities, what ends up happening is on major tests or quizzes where you're dealing with absolute value equation problems and inequality problems, I've seen this 10 million times as well. Students confuse the procedures. They'll start doing for inequalities like the procedure for equations and vice versa. So how you solve an absolute value inequality is quite different than the way you solve an absolute value equation. So again, mathematics is a game of organization, all right? There's just a ton of information and a ton of skills. So that's why it's imperative that you have great math notes, okay? And you'll want to make sure that you understand the steps and the procedures. And more than that, you need to see examples. But start off with easy problems and build your way up. But don't try to learn math by just like full-on memorization. Be like, oh, when I see this, I do that. That's not a good way to do this. What you want to do is master the concepts, right? So that's why when I teach a problem, how to do one problem, really what I'm trying to do is teach you the concepts to this type of problem so you can kind of like absorb that, learn that, synthesize that, and apply it to be able to solve problems of this different type. Okay, but just remember in algebra, it's just a kind of game of building up your overall math toolbox, skill by skill by skill. All right, so if this video was enjoyable or helpful in some way, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.